So for our comeback of the year, I'll go first if you
Okay, yes.
want, or
And
do
I
you
will
want to go
say,
first?
John and I have not discussed these, so I'm also really excited to hear what his are.
Yeah.
And we may have the same ones. I'll let you go first. I have mine written down. I promise I won't change it once I
Yeah.
hear yours. But yeah,
Yeah.
what was your comeback of the year?
Google.
Same. Yes.
Oh, same? Yeah.
They had too much good stuff that they saved for last. I mean, even in these last few days, it's been incredible. I think it was today, VO2 came out, Willow AI Studio, Notebook LM. I mean,
Yeah. Gemini 2.0. It's
yes.
across and benchmarks across the board. Gemini 2.0 is, they're now competing at the forefront again, like you would have expected Google to be all along with any kind of AI. 2 years ago, if we'd done back in 2021 when we were making our predictions for 2022, you would have anticipated that Google would be the front runner still in 2025. And while they are not clearly the front runner like they were back then, there are absolutely other competitors out there. Some of which we will probably be talking about when we make our predictions about overall winner and so on. So I don't want to try to spoil it too much, but they're not. It's not a unipolar AI world anymore. It's a multipolar AI world, which is great. It's great to have lots of smart people working in lots of different labs with their own takes on, how things should be done safely, and how the envelope can be pushed effectively.
Yeah, I'm curious, since Google is both of our comeback for the year, do you think that they're going to gain traction in the market? Or because OpenAI has such a brand presence when you think of AI and Gen AI, I'm guessing most people think of OpenAI right away. Do you think Google's going to have a hard time coming back from that, even though technically you and I both see them as the comeback of the year?
Yeah, it's an interesting question. It probably depends on where you are. I know that I recently came back from a trip in San Francisco, and lots of people there seem to be there's it's interesting. So I went to an event, this Gen AI event, where on your name tag you wrote your name as well as your favorite AI tool. And a lot of people had ChatGPT written on their name tag, but there were also a lot of people verbally expressing disappointment with OpenAI's year in 2024. Um, so that is, yeah, so it's interesting. I think OpenAI absolutely had pole position in uh, late 2022 with the release of ChatGPT, and they maintained that in 2023 with the release of GPT-4. But I think people were expecting, and who knows, maybe by the time this episode goes out, there will be like a GPT 4.5 release or something like that. But yeah, I think people with the delta between GPT 3 and 4, I think there was a lot of expectation that scaling alone, scaling data, scaling your number of weights in your model, that would continue to yield the crazy advances that we saw between GPT-3 and 4. Um, that hasn't borne out. So, we are seeing OpenAI still absolutely be competing at the threshold with things like their O1 model, which I absolutely love. We already talked about that earlier in the episode. Scaling at inference time has a lot of potential, especially with tasks that can be broken into intermediate steps and validated at each of those intermediate steps. Um, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see where OpenAI goes and how they are able to monetize or not. Like that's something that Google still enjoys. Like they still enjoy this monopoly over search. They're so dominant in advertising. They can afford to make some missteps or be a bit slower and still catch up over time. They have huge amounts of compute. They have, I think, probably still the strongest and largest concentration of AI talent. And so I don't know. It's interesting to see where they'll go. OpenAI is potentially more vulnerable, not so much to another existing giant like Google, but other upstarts like an XAI or an Anthropic.